Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, the Ultimatum Season 3 recap of episodes 9 through 10. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
Give them the click, why don't you?
You like that? Leave a review.
No, Kirk Cousins, I don't. Look,
you like that?
2 episodes to get through, but it's going to be easy to get through, especially the first one, because that was such an uneventful one when you get to the decision day, right? I mean, it's like, I don't think well, first of all, before we get to them, were you surprised by any of the decisions that anybody made?
Yes, I was surprised that Arya said yes to Scotty.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start there. And why were you so surprised by this one? Because when they get up there, first thing I noticed was, is she wearing Claire heels?
I didn't even pay attention. I didn't pay attention to that. I was surprised just because Scotty's treated her like crap all this time, that I hope that time away, those 3 weeks with Caleb, made her realize I deserve to be treated better.
Yes.
And I don't need to be with this asshole.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why I thought that she was going to say no to Scotty. I did call that Mariah and Caleb would say yes.
Yeah, and that did happen. By the way, thank you for just knocking our monetization out. That was a little too early to drop the A-bomb.
Did I? Oh, my fault.
Good evening, Merry Christmas to you too, Aisha. But yeah, no, definitely surprised about Scotty and Arya, and you just also brought up Mariah and Caleb, and that's the thing with them too. They also did say yes.
Yeah.
Just to stay together. I wasn't surprised by this though. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah. I had a feeling that maybe Caleb and would say no so that him and Arya could get together. But I wasn't surprised when he didn't, and that he chose to stay together. So yeah, that surprise that you had, I wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't think that Caleb and Arya were going to get together at all. I think they had a good 3 weeks of just kind of hanging out as roommates, but I didn't really see it romantic. It was nice, but there wasn't anything about their thing that made it seem romantic. I don't even think they slept in the same bed.
Yeah,
those 3 weeks.
Well, that's true. He did start off sleeping on the couch. They never showed us any other night, which could probably mean that it never happened. Right. Now, what they tried to tease with us first is at the end of episode 8 was they showed Nick and Sandy getting ready, and then when they walked up to each other, it turned out it was the old switcheroo was Sandy and JR.
Yeah.
Surprised with what happened with these two?
No, I'm not, because I thought that they had a lot of flirtatious chemistry and all that stuff, but I didn't see them leaving their current relationships to pursue each other. I didn't see that, and I kept saying that I felt like Sandy was fake because she seemed like she was looking at the camera. Remember that night when they were in the hot tub?
Yeah,
I feel like she was looking at the camera, so I just didn't see them.
You kept saying that.
Real.
I've never seen that. I don't understand that.
Yeah,
yeah,
I just didn't see them being real.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I was a little surprised, not on Sandy's part, but on JR. JR was smitten. He was smitten. And that's what it came across as. So I assumed that would be the case. But they both said, hey, you know what? We're just going to go on. We're not going to leave with each other. So be it, right? They go on, and you have Sandy and Nick. No surprise here, obviously.
No surprise. I think after we did like episode 6 or 7, I thought that they would still pick each other because I think they both like toxic, and they are a very toxic relationship. Kudos for Nick to realize that, you know what, you have another connection outside of me, which is a little bit of Nick's issue, and he's therapy for that. But he realized that she had a connection outside of him, so he just didn't propose. He would have if he thought she was going to say yes.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in the reunion part of it too, because that does come up. And last couple right here, and before we get to some of the comments, because a lot of comments about the surprise and the decisions. Not them. Almost felt like it should have been them still. Zena and JR. JR says no. I felt like you could see it coming because There was no emotion. As much as he's saying the words, but
Right.
there's zero emotion as he's saying them. Like the smile on his face when he saw Sandy was representative and equal to the scowl and blank look on his face when he was with Zena.
I agree. I agree. The whole time, I mean, I feel like JR didn't have emotion about Zena at all. Remember when him and Sandy were kind of ending their deal, and she asked him, "Are you going to cry?" He's like, "I might shed a thug tear." He goes, "But wouldn't it be sad I cried for you?" And I didn't even cry over Zena, and I've been with her for years.
Yeah.
He just had zero emotion to it. I mean, this whole time I thought they were a fake couple. A lot of us did.
Yeah.
But there was just zero emotion there for him.
It really was. It was bad. It was bad. I'm just sorry. I just these two disappointing. Should have been good. It wasn't. A couple comments that came in here from the live crew. By the way, appreciate everybody checking in. Do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and then hit the bell for notifications. CXM says, I was surprised by them. I didn't think Caleb was going to propose. And that's the whole thing about Caleb and Mariah. I absolutely am the same. Didn't think it was going to happen.
Honestly, I did. I thought they were still going to choose each other at the end of this.
We obviously watched two different shows. Mimi says JR thought he was leaving with Sandy, but she was playing the whole time. And that's what I got out of this. Like, you remember those dudes you ever saw in college, especially at UTSA, and, the white guys that wore the baggy pants, love hip hop and talk slang, because when they were ready, they could go switch it back up. and go back into the corporate world and be it's like, hey, be careful when you hang with They still got a safety net. You don't.
You wrong for that. You wrong. But
you know why I'm wrong? Because I'm right.
But I agree that if Sandy would have went to that meeting with JR, like, I really want to be with you.
Yeah.
I think he would have tried to leave with Sandy. I think so.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. Nan Maroc said, I think JR wanted Sandy and would have proposed to her. I don't know if he would have proposed, but he definitely wanted some more of that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even though Quanasia says JR went there to propose to Sandy, that's why he met up with her first. And I think that's the producers putting that together, too, for them to meet up first. And they did that to kind of throw us off to see what was going to happen. But I'm not going to lie.
Do we know if they met first? I mean, let's be honest.
That's the other part.
Yeah.
Did they? Yeah. It could have been after, right? But
Right.
yeah, absolutely. But I do think, I thought he was at least going to leave with her. Not propose, but leave with her. Because you didn't have to propose to the person you left with.
Right.
And Prime Napper says, no surprise, Sandy got to handle her curiosity, and so did JR. Even though that's not what they're saying in the reunion, which we'll get to in a little bit. CXM also said, seems like the only people who slept in the bed was JR and Sandy.
Yep.
That's not true, is it?
That's no. Scotty and Zena slept in the same bed.
Yeah. And Scotty thought, oh, she's wearing that to bed. It's going to be all good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So let's get to episode 10, man, because this is where it gets interesting. We get to the reunion, even though I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong. By the way, Messy and Zesty says Caleb slept in the bed.
I didn't see that.
Not the first night. And
Yeah.
I know why we would almost think that, because we asked about that too, was because the fact that he woke up next to Mariah and fair that he woke up naked, because obviously he's sleeping naked with Mariah, and he was unfair that he was next to Arya.
Right.
Maybe he did sleep in the bed with her because she did get comfortable with him. Maybe it's that last week. Who knows? At the end of the day, it's like, oh no. Hey, Prime Napper says Caleb moved to the bed after day 3.
All right.
So, but apparently with clothes on.
Maybe.
Perfect
Just
transition.
a loincloth. Just a loincloth.
It's perfect transition, though, because when we get to the reunion, Mariah and Caleb, they're right there. They're the first ones we get to find out that they're still engaged. And they took that long trip up the West Coast to see family and show off the ring.
Great. And happy for them. But what I don't get is they're not getting married until 2026.
I hate long engagements.
And I'm thinking, why are you doing this 2-year engagement? You brought him to a show to say, marry me or not. Why wait 2 years? I don't understand that.
Okay, so sorry, just got a point. Prime Napa says Caleb was pitching tents while he was sleeping in the bed next to Arya. Can you blame him?
No.
And Messy and Zesty. I see why your name is what it is. Talk about going to show the ring that the show bought. It's the ring.
It's that's part of what you get for being on the show. Can't fault him for that.
Exactly. They paid for that ring. But I never understood these long engagements, right? Like, what is up with that? I mean, if you want to get married, why are we bullshitting? Seriously.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the point in a 2-year engagement. After you've already been together, it'd be one thing if you just, 6 months, it's just fiery and passionate, and you get engaged, and you wait 2 years. That makes sense.
Right.
But you already been together 2 or 3 years. Why add another 2 years on to the engagement after going on a show called The Ultimatum? I don't get that.
Well, okay. Toya C says because Caleb isn't ready. Mimi says he's not ready. He just proposed because he had to. And Messy and Zesty said Caleb talking to caterers for destination weddings. Sorry, the hotel does it all. You know what? You got a point there.
But he could have been talking to the caterers at the hotel. So, I mean, the hotel just doesn't pick their own. You still got to pick a menu and all that. So maybe he's talking about the caterers at the hotel.
Okay. Go ahead. Stick it for him. That's good. Prime Napa says 2 years so Caleb can test the waters of her drainage after the show.
Wow.
And Nod Nabark says, I lost so much respect for Caleb when he proposed to that depressing, crazy, stalking woman. Damn.
Wow.
And, it's funny you talk about that because other things come up here, right? And we find out, because we've seen it with our own eyes, but there are other things that come up. Because, like, look, when Vanessa asked if Caleb reached out to Arya after the show, did you notice that before he could say no, Mariah was like, no. I don't think Vanessa even finished asking the question. Hey, so Caleb, did you reach out to? No.
Okay,
like,
but
yo,
if he's with a very jealous woman and they've been together this long, he likes it. There's some dudes who like that. They like a woman that goes crazy over them, and they like that. So Caleb knows what he's doing. So I don't think anything about that.
Yep. Okay, so here's the other part, right? And I see it. I've already seen the live group. Somebody's thinking the same way I am because Arya then gets kind of, oh, hold up now. You've been looking at my stories and liking them. Like, so what you mean you haven't reached out? I know social media is a little different, but is that reaching out?
No. I have exes that I look at their stories and I like stuff. Or their Facebook in relationships. I mean, they could be in relationships and posting about their 2-year anniversary. I'm like.
Yeah.
That is not saying that I want you or anything. It's just, hey, we had a relationship, we had a connection, we were friends. There's nothing wrong with that. So for Arya to bring that up, I thought was like silly. Maybe that's just young stuff.
It was kind of petty for her to do that, but they're all young. I mean, think about it. Mariah and Arya were the two youngest on the show, right? And Caleb's not that much older than both of them. But apparently, Caleb blocked Arya and then unblocked her because he's like, well, you blocked me. Like, well, no, you're not blocked right now. And come to find out, and I said this to you before we came on, and Nod Nabark says the same thing. Mariah blocked Arya. She got into Caleb's account and went, oh, really?
That could be true. I could see Caleb letting Mariah have access to his account to be able to do that. I could see that.
And maybe says Arya's so hate ass day.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
That is nuts.
Toya C says, my man better not be viewing his ex's social media. Why? Like, if they're just viewing it, it's not like they're sliding the DMs. They're just viewing it.
He ain't got to slide in the DMs. He got the phone number.
Well, I'm just saying that, but I'm just saying that if you have an ex that you're still friends with, and you might not talk regularly, but at least you're still friends on social media, I don't think there's anything wrong with just kind of, liking their deal or congratulations on the new baby, whatever. I don't see the big deal.
Messy is. I swear I know exactly why you got your name, so we can't like y'all channel there. No, like. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. My wife will come down and tell you to do that. Dang. Is it that serious on social these days? By the way, Amanda says Mariah low-key a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yes, definitely.
Could be.
Messy and zesty, boy. I swear, I get it. I get it. You ever meet somebody and all of a sudden you know exactly how they were named? Her family is rich though. Caleb knows exactly what time it is. Could be.
Could be.
And this one got me. Gouda James says my sis wedding is 2 years out and the budget is $140K. Why?
If you got money like that, do you? But it's whatever. So I really think this is just unnecessary drama coming from Arya. And then Arya says that Mariah and Caleb act like a fake couple. Like, where'd that come from?
Well, you know, the thing is, I think what she's saying is because Mariah acts as if everything's all good, right? Then we saw when she got with Caleb that everything was not all good. And in that moment, she's like, look, because here, you were calling every night. But on camera in front of everybody else, she was calm, cool, collected, right? But every night, she was calling Caleb. And I think that's where she thinks that, and with Caleb, she calls him out because of him not admitting the emotional connection.
Okay, but even Caleb tried to say, look, I felt if I didn't show some of this stuff and didn't do these things, I was good, wasn't disrespecting Mariah. So I see where Caleb's coming from. What annoyed me was Scotty tries to chime in and said Caleb wasn't being 100 Mariah about what he was feeling. And Scotty said, we all have to take accountability for this experience. Really? Scotty? I'm not buying it. But then even after that, Arya said that during dating week, Caleb was putting Mariah first. So she bashing him at one point and then trying to stick up for him at the end. I just think this is just fake mess.
Yeah. Well, I get it. And to be fair, Caleb at least did kind of say that he admitted to his part in it, right? Didn't he?
He did, but I just don't think he had to. I just feel like this is Arya just being drama.
No, everybody's saying Arya for drama and all that, and Georgia B has a great point before we move on from these two real quick. Says depends on what type of pictures when it comes to liking the pictures she posted. Was he liking thirst traps? Because rule number one, no. You like the family wholesome pictures.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what pictures he liked, but
that's why Mariah blocked them. It's like you don't need to be watching these. Oh my God! All right. Next up, speaking of Arya, let's get to Arya and Scotty, man, because this was an interesting one. I felt so good when this started because apparently, or should I say, thankfully, Arya realized she made a mistake. And they're no longer engaged. And I was like, yes. And then she's like, well, wait a minute. How soon after? She said, I woke up.
Yeah. The next day, she realized, hey, my bad. And I really hope Arya gets some help and some therapy before she jumps into another relationship. Because to me, it seems like Scotty must have done a number on her, just from a self-esteem and all these different things. Done a number on her. But she realized right after that, this isn't going to work. And what's crazy is they moved in together. She didn't want to do the engagement, but let's move in together and let's see if it works. And then she kept saying that, the old us came out, and then she kept pushing for couples therapy. Then she gave him an ultimatum to say either we go to therapy or this is over.
Okay. It's interesting because you just made a point that she said the old us came out, right? And here's the thing. You don't circle the block, so you have no idea what this is like, right? But a lot of people go back to exes, right? And when they go back to exes, what happens is that comfort level comes back that quick. You know what else comes back that quick? The reason y'all broke up in the first damn place.
I've spun the block before, sir. I've spun the block before.
That's why
the
you
reason
don't?
I don't is because I've learned my lesson that the 2 times I did it, it didn't work out because I realized, this is why I ended it with you last time.
Yes.
Because of all this. Yeah.
Because that comfort level, you're like, oh my God, this is happiness. How did I ever? That's why.
Yeah. that right there. That's it. That's it.
Message that says X marks the spot. X stands for danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't no redos, no reruns, none of that.
Did you notice?
Reboots. Don't do any of that.
Did you notice that Scotty started BSing and gaslighting Arya again? Once she called out the whole therapy part.
Yeah, because well, he tried to make it seem like he tried, he did his best, and it didn't work. And Arya, kudos to her, she stood her ground and was trying to say, nope, you need to take accountability for this stuff. And then also she said that you don't love me the way that she needs to be loved. I'm glad that she recognized that. But all that crying that she was doing after that, it was just annoying. You don't take accountability, and I always gotta get you to apologize. And what do I gotta get you to? That was annoying. Just to hear her do all that, I'm sorry.
So basically, you're not gonna agree with me when I said I'm glad that in that year she found her voice.
I wish she'd have found a stronger voice. Because that, you always made an apologize. You never apologize.
Stop it.
That was annoying. I can't deal with that. I just couldn't deal with it. I'm sorry. I just couldn't deal with it. I'm like, Scotty, how'd you put up with this for this long? I don't see how you could deal with that. That was annoying.
Well, who could put up with Scotty in the first place? Well,
I get it. Scotty's a problem. I know that he's a problem. All I'm saying is that Arya with all the drama, it's been a year, and you're still this emotional after this breakup.
Do you agree with Prime
much.
Napa who says I can foresee a situation where she could backslide with him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I see that too.
That's why she needs the therapy.
And you're right, and I agree with you on that because here's the thing: she did all this. She came out strong. She even hit him with a "Can I finish?" Right, and got him together a little bit. But then Scotty does what Scotty does. And he went, "Hey, look, I gave everything, and apparently it wasn't enough. The only thing he missed was that one lone tear coming down his face." And here's the thing though: I like how Zena jumped in because I was waiting for her to say something. All the things that they had her saying, and I was waiting, and maybe she was waiting to see Arya get her voice, right? Like, I can't fight this battle for you, girl. You got to do it yourself. If you need some help, I got you. I'm your backup. We'll jump him if we need to. And she came in and said she felt like Arya just didn't want to reject Scotty because he doesn't do well with rejection, and that's why she said yes.
Mm-hmm. And Arya said that, yes, that's why. And I'm thinking to myself, Arya, girl. Get some therapy. Don't date anybody. Don't slide into anyone's DMs. Don't let anyone slide into yours. Get you some counseling. Get your stuff together. Deal with your daddy issues before you date another dude because Scotty is all up in her head.
All up in her head. By the way, Mimi says Arya's still dealing with trauma from her dad and being with a man that's just like him made it worse. Yeah. Indeed. Prime Napa also says Scotty's a very weak male. He had no issues with becoming intimidating towards women. None of that same smoke for JR. We called that out a while back, too.
Well, I don't think that's weak. That's a smart male. I mean, you and I, if JR wanted to, flex on us, I'm like,
But you or I would
I don't
not
need
also
to
have
go down
that
that path.
same energy that he had trying to just drag women down like that.
Well, true. That's his Mac. His Mac is to belittle someone to get them to like him. Isn't that called something? Is that negging or something like that? Where
Now,
you try to knock a woman down a peg to get her to like you. And there's people that do that. And I think that's what Scotty does. He tries to put this dominance thing, knocks you down. Because Arya's a beautiful woman. And you think, why are you putting up with this? Because Scotty's in your head telling you that you're a problem.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Nodna Barker also agrees with you. Said, "Oh my gosh, she got on my nerves at all, like crying while talking and begging."
Yep.
So, yeah. So you weren't alone in that one. Same time, the next couple that you guys called us a fake couple, I just didn't really see them as a fake couple. Zena and JR. I thought they'd been through enough, right? Coming to find out, they moved out because they said no. I think she was going to say yes.
Yeah.
And luckily, they asked him first, let him go first. Because Zena still, after the whole process, wanted to get back together. JR claims they didn't spend Christmas together. They didn't get each other gifts. And Zena's like, yeah, but we still live across the street from each other.
I like how Zena's like, no, we did spend Christmas together. And I got you a gift. You got me a gift 3 days later. Like, what are you talking about? And so she said, "Hey, you want me to tell the truth?" Which she brought it out, which I was like, good for Zena, for doing that. So she said that they moved out. She moved across the street. The problem is JR kept messing with her the whole time. So they're still talking. My guess is JR is still sleeping with her, all the while saying that I need some time to, reflect on what happened at the show and I need to process things. But you're still sleeping with her. That's on JR.
It is, and that's it, right? Because the way that they both have these different things, he's just like, "No, I told you this. I told you." She's like, "I need closure. I need closure." He's like, Here's what's happening. You put it well, and like you think they're still sleeping together because she's making love to him. He's just knocking boots.
Right.
He's making them cheeks clap. That's all he's doing. She's out here making love. And that's why there's a big difference and such a big disparity in what they're saying happened over that last year. Because she goes on a good date. She comes back home. That dude is like, "Oh, man, I did everything. I'm in there." And as soon as she gets through the door, "Hey, JR.
Hey, big head.
What you doing?" You up?
You up? I'm just laying here thinking about you. Why don't you come through? Yeah. So this is where I put this on Zena. The fact that, she feels that he refused to give her any type of closure, that's on Zena, in my opinion. Now, and let me just preface this. I get closure. I get why you'd want it. But nobody owes you that. As much as you feel you deserve it, no one owes you that. So JR didn't owe her closure. I've been broken up with zero closure, not knowing why it happened. It happens. You grow up and you move on. That's on her, that she chose to still put up with the dude that she brought to a show called The Ultimatum. And he told her at the show, "I want to leave here single." And you still kept dealing with this man. That's on you at that point.
It's one of those things where I felt bad for her when they were on their trial marriage because she was putting in all the effort.
Yeah.
And all he was doing was thinking like, "Man, I wonder what Sandy's doing."
The same effort he put in before they got to the show. Yeah. He didn't do anything different. That was the same effort he'd been putting in. She just finally realized that, oh, I'm the fool. Or as they say, I'm Boo Boo the fool for like chasing this dude. It's like, yeah, you've been chasing him.
Okay, so here's the thing about this, right? And that part comes in with some of the stuff that came in here. Messy says closure starts with closing them legs. Misty Hulu says she needs to close the door and her legs, not closure, right? But this was before the show. Like you say from the beginning, you've always said this. If you have to bring somebody in a show, the relationship's already over, right?
Right.
Zena reveals that the day before filming, 24 hours before they leave to go to film the show, she got a text from another woman. And now while she's sitting at the reunion on the couch across from him, she's like, "Oh, that was God sending me a message saying red flags, run." I thought the red flag was y'all there in the first place.
Yes, the red flag was her bringing him in the first place. But what blew my mind is that she sees the DM and confronts him, and he says, "Oh, that's photoshopped." That's like a Shaggy "it wasn't me" excuse. And it worked. Me. And then he was like, "Yeah, but I apologize. I told you, hey, my bad." That he lied. So she's been dealing with this dude lying to her for a long time. So all that smoke that she brought coming on the show, I wanted to say, "Hey, Zena, you need to dial that back because a lot of this is on you. Have some accountability. This is your fault. You got played and you let it happen for 3 years."
Yeah. I do like, she called out Scotty on the show, right? For the things he was doing.
Yep.
And I think what we saw, even though JR tried to call her Petty Zay, we're seeing Petty JR. And I like how Zena actually called him out on the lies of what happened between him and Sandy on the show. Now, to that point, Prime Napa says, "Please tell me someone saw the scene with JR standing naked in the doorway." That did not come up. I don't understand how that never came up. Did they put it on the cutting room floor? What happened? Because when it came down to what happened between JR and Sandy, right? Both Sandy and JR claiming nothing else happened. And JR's like, "Well, I forgot about the third kiss or the kiss below," which we know Sandy likes. And Nick knows Sandy likes. And that's what he'd be like, "Was there a fourth kiss?" They damn sure lied.
Wow, that's a mess.
It is. But, I take for this. Nick Lachey then asked Sandy about the flirty chemistry because, of course, JR is just blocking it, right? The whole time. And Sandy starts off with these WWTs about, well, no, it was so much more than just that. And we never did anything else. Yeah, we had flirty chemistry. There was more. And nobody brought up that scene. If you all watch the show, how does nobody bring that up?
Maybe they did. It was edited out. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that happened.
I do like how Zena called Sandy out for reassuring her at the girls' night out that nothing had happened. Like, girl, you might as well have said nothing. Why bring it up when you're just bringing it up to lie to me? I didn't even ask you. You just brought it up.
And kudos to Sandy. She owned it. She was like, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Like Messi says, Sandy, the good, quote-unquote, other woman, stay silent. The good philosopher Christopher Rockenstein had a joke about that.
Yeah.
All right, Lisa? Yes. Girl, you're going to get us both killed. You wouldn't last a day in these streets. Everybody knows, like listener 1126 says, JR and Sandy did the deal. We know that. We know it, right?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay,
I don't know that for sure. We can't say that. Let's not put that out there. We don't know for fact that they did that. They said they didn't, so all we can do is take it at their word that they didn't sleep together.
By the way, Mimi says she saw Zane on another podcast, and her friend said she's always been very forgiving, and it pisses them off. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
Or she was just omatized.
You said what?
She was omatized.
Omatized, yeah. She got her first O, and so she's like, "Oh, this is
where the alphabet stops.
This is where, we're meant to be. This is kismet. This is supposed to happen."
By the way, Mimi also says, "Well, we have a strong suspicion, Tell."
You could, but let's just not say, "Hey, we know that they did." We don't know that.
Okay, well, we'll go with that one. Now, here's the other thing that I do like, though. This is where it kind of got a little messy, and I'm glad it did. When it came down to the whole hall pass thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because Zena then turns into Tom Cruise on her Mission Impossible. She has a chip on her nail to bring up the receipts. She said, "Hey, Nick, you got your phone? Bring that thing over here."
Whoever her Haywan is that does her nails, man, that person is bad.
Yo, that thing is nuts, man. The fact that she pulled it up, she showed the conversation, and it turns out JR was Petty J was really being that and being very messy at the guys' night out. Because there was never anything of Zena saying somebody gave this thing told him that he was only there for one.
Right. I mean, for the text messages to come up, there was no reason for JR to throw that at Scotty at the guys' night. So I don't know where any of that came from. So I'm glad Zena brought receipts because it just didn't make any sense.
Okay, and I tell you how he got there because Arya's name came up, and he figured Arya and Scotty are talking, and that's how that came up.
Could be, but still, there was nothing in those text messages that would say that Scotty is saying that. He just did that for no reason. And then I love how they put the video footage to show all the things that JR had been saying on the dating week, and the fact that he even said, "I'm here. I have a hall pass."
Now that's an interesting one when he did bring that up too, right? Because when they, as it was said here, as they producers rolled that beautiful bean footage of JR and all the stuff he was saying. All the wild stuff he was saying. We realize now why he didn't pick Arya, right? He didn't pick Arya because she did not. She explicitly told him she wasn't going to have sex, and we can see that because there's a point I thought he was going to pick her. He didn't, but to see that he's the one that actually said it, and then he still tries to play it off as in, no, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, what did he say? No, that was taken out of context. This is the same guy who said, no, this DM you're looking at is photoshopped. It's not real. And then confessed to lying to that. JR's a liar, and it's fine. Dude, just do you. You're a liar. You got caught. But everything that you were saying to all these women, telling Arya, what if I get you pregnant in 3 weeks? All these different things you're saying. All about the sex talk.
The interesting thing was watching Sandy then turn on JR and break out the WWTs, second wave
Again.
of WWTs. Yes.
Again, for nothing didn't have anything to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just what she does, which is why I think Sandy likes drama.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she's with somebody like a Nick. But to say that you're just watching you say that, stop it.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing, too, that a couple people brought up here. Toya says the chip on the nail, I know that was expensive, of what Zena's thing. Messy and Zesty says Z probably verified the QR code worked before leaving the salon, which technically, I think it's more like a dot. They just tap it on the phone, and then it goes, right? And
But I'm sure she checked that. I'm sure she would have. Like, who wouldn't? You're going to get that done with receipts and not check before you get to the show.
Yeah, I'll be jacked up. He'll be like, that's just a picture of you. Nick will be like, that's not mine.
Yeah.
Holly Won't says that was the strongest fill. She could have just brought her phone. There's that too. But, I mean, maybe it wasn't going to work with her outfit. And then Happy Gardner said the chip was nice, but the scene didn't give what it was supposed to give.
I
You
agree.
I
agree. It wasn't that big a deal. Like you thought she was about to really drop some big bombs. Yeah. But also maybe that they're not allowed to bring their phones out on stage.
Right.
And so that's why she had to ask Nick and Vanessa, Nick Lachey and Vanessa, if they have their phones, because they're not allowed to bring their phones out.
You know what? She read the fine print. That's what it was. Here's the other thing, though. Last thing on these two, Zena and JR. Zena says the ultimatum saved her from making the worst decision of her life. I was with you until that moment. Because she was still trying to do it.
Yeah, no. I think if JR wanted to, he'd get back with Zena if he wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. Plain and simple. And he probably will after the show at least one more time. And she'll fall straight into that trap again.
For old time's sake.
Old time's sake. You know, we're throwing these people away, so I don't even have their picture. But Vanessa and Dave, they came out. And Vanessa, any big revelations here from what she was saying that happened between her and Nick and why she decided to leave?
Yeah, her whole purpose of coming back was just to crap on Nick.
It was.
That's all it really was. I mean, I get it. Nick has some problems. We all know that. There's nothing that she said that surprised any of us.
Right.
What we still didn't get is, why did you leave? Although she said, I'm not going to get anything out of this. But also, are you and Dave engaged?
Nope.
You know, where are y'all going? And Dave said this whole process got us to have some deeper conversations about, do we want kids and all that. I'm thinking, y'all didn't have those conversations before she brought you the ultimatum?
Right.
So I just didn't see a whole purpose of Vanessa and Dave coming out.
None at all. And an interesting part is she's crapping on, I mean, and to be fair, Nick was terrible to her and all the things that was on, and he admitted to being rude and all this other stuff. But when Nick turned the tables on her and said, well, hey, hold up now. I was there for you too. When you were here having a complete meltdown over Dave.
Yeah.
I was there for you. And she's like, what does that have to do with anything? Everything. I like how even in that moment, Sandy still stood up for Nick, because even though she was like, yeah, those 15 roller coaster rides you had in one day, I went through that for all those years in our relationship. Sandy, that's terrible. You shouldn't do that. But I appreciate you standing up for Nick in that moment, because even Scotty called it out. And I'm mad anytime you make me, have to side with Scotty on anything.
She wasn't standing up for Nick. She was just trying to get more airtime, because you can't stand up for Nick in one moment and then be like, see, you can't dump all your emotions because that's the stuff that happened to me. And then she starts crying again. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not buying it, Sandy.
Right. Well, speaking of Sandy, her and Nick, right? This was interesting and not, because the only thing I wanted to, it's like watching a car wreck, and you know it's about to happen, and you're like, if they only just swerve, they'll be fine. But they're not going to. They're just still heading straight toward each other, right? Do you believe Nick when he said that he was just reaching for a note, and it was Sandy's visceral reaction to him reaching for the note when he thought he was reaching for a ring that let him know she wasn't ready? Was he reaching for the ring, or was he reaching for a note?
I'm going to say I believe that he was reaching for a note and not the ring because
A note wrapped around the ring?
So much had happened that I think that he couldn't shake it. And he was all in his head thinking that, of what her and JR did. And also keep in mind, she said, hey, no sex when she got back with him. And I'm sorry, what did I say? You're in a relationship with someone for a few years and they tell you, hey, we're not going to have sex for 3 weeks. There's a reason because he felt like he knew she wasn't interested anymore.
Right. No, yeah. Well, the minute, and you can't tell me nothing happened. And this is why I don't like this. You can't tell me nothing happened with JR when you took sex off the table with your man for the last 3 years, as soon as you got back with him.
I'm with you. All I'm saying is I'm only going off what they said. Nothing happened. But I'm sorry. If I'm in a 3-year relationship, I'll never be on the show or bring someone to the ultimatum. Well, let's say I did. For those of us that like doing hypotheticals, I could not imagine that I get back with my partner. I'm like, hey, so I need time to process things. So I'm going to take sex off the table for the next 3 weeks until the ultimatum. Yeah, that's my answer. You told me right there what you're going to say.
Messy and Zesty says he was reaching for a drink or another JR tattoo.
Or a little bump of some booger sugar.
Hey, he's an artist. He's sensitive about his shit.
Yeah. I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my stuff. You need a little booger sugar, a little bump to get him through that.
Well, to be fair, we don't want to laugh about it because he didn't go check himself into rehab. And Sandy was like, you in there? You good? I'm out.
He said she went on a trip and she's been tripping ever since.
I couldn't tell if that was a play on words or she just been her and JR just been taking that many trips, or she's been taking a trip around JR's world.
I thought that was funny on Nick's part. It's like she took me to rehab, and then a week later she goes on a trip, and she's been tripping ever since.
Nuts. Then they got into the whole thing about relationships, right? Where's everybody's relationship status? Nick, is it a new relationship? Seeing someone. Feel good for
luck,
him?
girl. I'm Molly, you in danger, girl. Whoever's seeing Nick, you in some danger. That dude needs some help.
Yeah, he said, we would tell you blink twice, but don't blink around that man because things can change real quick. Real quick. I just thought this was funny. JoJo said Sandy dropped him off at rehab like he was dropping him off at daycare.
All right, bye, babe.
Oh, man. JR is not in a relationship, right?
He's still processing.
Processing what, Sandy?
A year later, he's still processing. I don't know, but that's what he said. Is he still processing? I'm like, what are you processing a year later? Stop it. It's because you kept dealing with Zena this whole time, so you were still technically in a relationship.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because I may have missed it. Did they ever ask if JR and Sandy spoke after the show was over or got together after that?
They did. And so apparently the first week after the show was over, they checked in on each other. And then Zena was like, no other time after that, not even holidays, Merry Christmas. And he was like, yeah, but I told you that Sandy reached out to say Happy Holidays. And then Zena was like, then why are you saying no contact? Which I think that's Zena being bitter. Because
that's the petty say he was talking about.
Yeah, that's the petty stuff. It's like, yeah, happy birthday, Merry Christmas. That's not someone like, Merry Christmas, you want to come over?
Yeah, but here's the thing about it. But she's just being literal. He's like, no, you take my word for it. That's all. Right?
Yeah.
She's reading the fine print. He's like, yeah, I know what's in there. You know those people who sign the contract and have no idea what's in there? Do you know what that employee handbook says?
I agree with JR in this one. I'm like, yeah, we didn't really talk. Yeah, happy birthday. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Halloween. Big deal.
Now, Zena says, we know she froze her eggs because she talked about it when it was with her and JR. And he even went with her to do that, right?
He gave her an injection.
Mm-hmm. So she's still, well, I'm sure he gave her an injection. He probably gave her a couple. But she's out here dating as well.
She says she's in the streets.
Back to the streets.
Back to the streets, like Memoy LeBron. Back to the streets. Yes, it should that she's just dating, but I'm hoping that also she takes some time to have some me time before you get in a relationship, because that's a whole lot that she's gone through, and the fact that she's this emotional a year later at the reunion tells me that she's not over it. JR's done. He's good.
Oh, he's done. I mean, but he'll also go back around and
Spin the block.
go through the alphabet again with her. A-E-I-O-U.
I've been watching her social. She's blowing up. She's done great. I love her and it's a possibility that we could get together. And she's trying to say that the door is closed. I don't believe her.
I don't believe her either. I'm sorry, Z. I wish I could, but I don't believe it. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
By the way, Mimi says their liars don't leave out any details, right? So the fact that, and some of the things about the contact, because that's what came up a couple times. Caleb was caught in that one, and Arya called him out because he's liking pictures. And same thing here with Zena, Sandy, and JR, right? And while Mimi says don't leave out any details, Prime Napper's like, yeah, man, some men are not good at details.
Yeah.
Agree?
I agree. See? It's that's not what JR focuses on, but she's been with him for years. She knows. She knows her man.
So something else that came up in here too, Messi and Zesty asked about Nick. Is Molly a real girl or another kind of Molly?
Oh, I was talking about the movie Ghost.
Okay.
I was talking about the movie Ghost, where Whoopi says, "Molly, you in danger, girl." That's
so
what I meant by Molly.
That's not the exact girl. That's because he never gave a name, did he? I was like, man, I must have missed that.
Yeah, no, he didn't give a name. I just said it because of the movie Ghost. Her name might not be Molly. Now, could Nick be doing Molly? Sure.
I'm sure. Look, Happy Gardner says the ultimatum didn't work for any of these couples. Caleb and Mariah got engaged in 2023, not getting married until 2026. That's the thing we didn't think about. When was this shot?
Yeah, it's 2023 because it's a year later. Their reunion,
crap.
2024. That's why I was saying, why are you waiting so long?
That's 3.
Yeah.
That means we're not ready. That's all that says. We ain't ready.
100%.
And then it also says, Vanessa and Dave just going ring shopping. This experiment is worse than Love is Blind.
I think so because, I think it is the worst because if you got to bring someone onto a show to say, marry me or not, your relationship is not good. So I just, this is a whole thing to get ratings and it's something that Nick and Vanessa Lachey can make some money on. Good, make your money. But I don't see anything positive that comes out of people that decide to go onto the ultimatum.
Okay, but you know what? If this is what you're looking for and you sign up for it, then so be it, because at the end of the day, that's what they're there for, ratings. Netflix gives them a check to provide content.
Right.
People do it.
Right.
By the way, Messi and Zest says they need to marry them at the finale. They tried that with Love is Blind. That ain't working. People are not even making it to the altar purposely. So there's that.
Well, they did that in season 1.
Of what, the ultimatum?
Yeah, they got married at the end of it.
Did they?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Dang.
Yeah, they got married in it. Yep.
Okay. Maybe. I don't, yeah. And Toya says, though, to contradict that, last season all the couples got engaged.
They did. But it was boring because even when they did the swap, nothing was happening. It wasn't like season 1.
Yeah, season
where
1 was
people had some hall passes.
That's what JR was talking about. He's like,
right.
Did you watch season 1? Because I want to be, I want that moan on camera that they got.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to do. Cassie says they got married and pregnant. Season 1.
That was one couple.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, if this comes around again, And I'm sure it will, because they'll find more people that are willing to do this again. We'll be right there for it. Of course, we're back with Married at First Sight again. And later daters, people have been asking about it. I know, I think Married at First Sight is on quick hiatus because of the holidays the next 2 weeks, Christmas and New Year's. So do us a favor, hit that like button, whether you're part of the live crew, whether you're part of the replay gang, hit that like button, please. We love it when you hit it. Click, click, all right? Also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Find out when we drop the later daters, because that's going to be coming up soon as we have some time in between. So let's see, we'll do it at 2 episodes at a time? Because I think it's only 8 episodes. 4 episodes at a time. That's what it was. Yeah, 4 episodes at a time. Because it's only so many couples in that one, so we'll knock through that pretty fast.
Yeah.
Look out for that next week and week after. And then, of course, Ready to Love is back. Season 10 in Philly, the city of brotherly love. Trailer's out, and it looks like it's a mess already, so we're looking forward to it.
Yep, we got to do it. We got to do it.
Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Justel, and at the RGRT Pod.
Yes, have a Merry Christmas. Spend a lot of good time with loved ones. And send us any of the random thoughts or some things you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
And send Terrell some mistletoe so he can put something up. I got a whole tree behind me. What you got? I got a whole Santa sweater on.
I got that right there. It's perfect. I should just put like a star on the top of it.
What are you going to put yourself on top of the tree? There's a star here.
Boom. Good idea.
Oh, Lord, I'm out of here. Cheers.
Cheers.